it's been a long time since I did an NES game, and how famed since my first NES review was The Little Mermaid. Well, today I'm going to be doing another NES game produced by Capcom based on the Noid. You may remember him as that annoying mascot that would always do his best to obtain pizza from pizza delivery guys. I remember him for that one moment from Family Guy where Wes snapped his neck for stealing his pizza. Well, as we all know, video game adaptations of beloved or not so beloved characters don't always work well in the NES. But, you know, given that it's about a high-paced kind of character like this, how can you mess it up? Well, they do, and given that this was a game made by Capcom, it just makes it a bigger disappointment. The game starts up with a brief introduction about Mr. Green and his creatures that cause havoc in the nearby city, and it's up to the Noid to save the day so he can get his pizza reward. The game first starts off with us on the docks apparently, or on a flowing ship. Yeah, this is a confusing level. Is there an earthquake happening or something? I have to say though that the graphics are still really decent for NES and well detailed. When I started playing this game for the first time, I thought the only weapon I was stuck with was his yo-yo, until I found out that the scrolls that I was collecting were points for power-ups like an earthquake power, or essentially a lightning power that eradicates everyone on screen. You can't just blow through the level like you would playing Super Mario Bros. Because there are enemies that pop out from below the screen that'll kill you. And just keep this in mind, this is a one-hit-you-die game, so you need to be focusing the entire time so you don't easily lose lives. So you need to figure out the pattern through trial and error. After the end of every other level, you are taken to a card game in which you need to get the highest score of pizzas in order to proceed in the next level. There are ways around this. You can either obtain enough of these 2 or 3 cards that will multiply your card and give you more pizza. Or you can use one of your 2 bomb cards, which are pretty much spice cards, to make the computer opponent lose their card and for you to proceed to the next level, since he won't have any more cards to use against you. You can find these cards throughout the game, whether it's shown on screen, or if you need to shoot your yo-yo in the air to find more of them. But be careful not to use it as your last card, because this will happen. I wish that the game programmers looked over this bug before sending out the game to stores. Anyway, the less pizza the opponent obtains, the more points you receive. If you manage to get it so he gets none as the level ends, you get 10,000 points and an additional continue. These continues will be your best friend in this game since each continue only gives you 3 lives and they are a bit difficult to obtain, although you can get another life if you make it up to 20,000 points. Each level has a different setting. Level 2 is an ice level, level 3 has a skateboard level, level 5 is a sewer level, and there are also city levels and a few at the carnival. I have to say though, as the levels continue on, they just get harder and harder. I mean, the first 5 stages were pretty easy with trial and error, but as the later stages, I mean, they just become a nightmare. With level 6, you are hopping on docks and trying to avoid cannons. Whenever I would practice on this level, I would barely be able to make it out alive, and without throwing my controller at the TV screen, although I think I've already done that enough times in the past. One way for me to get past this level without having to complete it was of me accidentally finding a secret level where you pretty much have to play whack-a-mole. You have to reach up to a certain point so you can get the shortest way to the next level. If you lose, you go back to the beginning of the level and lose a life. If you win, not only do you proceed to the next level, you also get another continue. Which if you know how difficult this game is, you'll be very grateful to obtain another continue. And trust me, when I say that level 7 is extremely hard, it's the kind of level that nearly drove me to my breaking point. It's a flowing level that is very hard to navigate. Hell, the first time I played this level, I lost because I didn't get a chance to figure out that I was supposed to be flying this level. The fans don't help since it's trying to push you back into enemies and projectiles. This is why the game desperately needs a checkpoint at each level. It will make it a lot easier for the common player like me to get through the game. Even the modern Mario games are kind enough to give you this. Level 8 was pretty annoying since while you're in the jungle trying to avoid birds and random poles, it's a hopping can that kills you. Why is it that the things that kill you in this game are cans and frogs? Oh, and once you get killed, your power-up is taken away, so you need to go through the entire level just trying to find no one so you can defend yourself against these treants. The next level has me avoiding enemies throwing projectiles at me from windows, a random douchebag throwing a fucking brick at my head, and silver punching glove-shaped rocks bouncing towards me. Oh goody, I have to make sure to survive throughout a shitload of rain boxes, frogs, and worms. Seriously, why is it always wimpy things that end up killing us in games anyway? One thing I should have addressed before is that this game is a retooling of a game called Kamen no Ninja Hanamaru. Not a name? Anyway, this game was released in Japan 8 months prior and has similar gameplay and design. The only difference is the characters, the stage designs, and the ways to be able to fly around. But to go back further, the game uses the same engine from a game called Wagan, which was released in early 1989 in Japan. So essentially, Wagan was retooled twice, and Noid is not exactly as original as I thought it would be, although it's still a pretty hard nail-biting game. By this level, it was much easier for me to proceed since I obtained this power-up where I could do super jumps. It didn't really work out to my advantage, so I chose lightning instead. I actually ended up dying and losing all my lives here, so I ended up using Game Genie to get back to this stage. On to the last level, where while it's another flying stage, they're at least kind enough to let you use your power-ups to get rid of random projectiles for a change. Afterwards, you have to do one last card game, and since he has really good cards, hopefully you've saved enough cards from before to defeat him so you can end the damn game. The game ends with you defeating Mr. Green, and you go off to collect your reward as slowly as possible. In fairness, there is pretty good detail put into the animation here. So that was Noid, and while I'm not a big fan of the game and the common player will have difficulty with it, it's definitely a great game for hardcore gamers. I mean, it's on par with Street Fighter 2010, another Capcom game in which if it was tweaked a little bit so that way it was slightly easier for the player, it would be an NES classic. I mean, it does make you want to replay it so that way you can get to the ending. Overall, it's not a game for me, but in all fairness, I can at least credit it for trying to be decent. I don't like it, and that's not something I would willingly play again, but for anyone who's hardcore, that's fine. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to work on my normal porn for normal people story, and I'm going to also be doing my special 2-year Pokemon Creepypasta. Come follow me.